5,000 schools closed as teachers take their fight directly to Queen's Park. Plus, canceled cruises over coronavirus fears. This GTA couple left scrambling to salvage their vacation plans. And
here's its rear diffuser. This is not put here for show. Here's the fuel cap. It's specially designed with no cover.
it's Top Gear, the next generation. We'll introduce you to an 8-year-old automotive genius. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. There's no school today for students in any of the publicly funded school boards. For the first time in more than 2 decades, all 4 major teachers' unions united in a one-day strike, a massive show of unity after months of escalating protests. Lorenda Redekop was at a major teacher rally at Queen's Park.
Thousands of teachers marched around the legislature today, all 4 teachers' unions holding a one-day strike.
Over 200,000 teachers and education workers across this province are standing up and in one voice saying, you must pull back these cuts.
The last time they all walked out at once was more than 20 years ago.
To bring pressure, quite frankly, to get the attention of this Premier and the Minister of Education, to let them know that we're not going away and they need to take this seriously.
Some of the issues, they say, are keeping class sizes down, ensuring teachers have enough supports, and for the high school unions, no mandatory online learning for their students.
Last year in my school alone, we lost 6 teachers, so that was 36 less classes. We are having trouble running some of the classes that people need, the students need to get into post-secondary, like physics, the arts.
No education cuts!
The education minister has repeatedly said the unions are fighting for higher salaries for teachers.
What we've heard from the minister is that this is, at the end of the day, he believes that this is about money and your wages. How much is that an issue for you?
For me and my fellow teachers, we've met many times. It's always the last subject to be talked about. Spec ed, class sizes are always first, as well as kindergarten.
For the first time, codified in elementary
Now the education minister is raising another issue.
The unions really are saying that they want to maintain 100% of hiring predicated on seniority. And I'm saying that qualification, merit, and diversity need to be part of the discussion that enables principals to choose the best educator for your child's class. The second issue is benefits.
It wasn't only teachers marching today.
I know that they're not doing this just for themselves. I know they're doing this for the kids, and the government needs to know that the parents are supporting the teachers.
Many parents scrambled to find childcare. Here they dropped off their kids at a day camp.
And it's difficult on the kids, you know. One day they're school, the other day it's not. And getting them settled back into school, it's very, very difficult. I'm really hoping it gets resolved soon.
Elementary and secondary school teachers plan to continue job action next week, but there is a sign of hope for one union. Catholic teachers canceled their plans to strike and will be back at the bargaining table on Monday. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Our Queen's Park reporter Mike Crawley had a chance to speak with Education Minister Stephen Lecce today. He asked him what issues he is willing to negotiate on.
I think in the context of online learning, we've made a commitment. Originally, the proposal was 4 courses. It's now down to 2, and I continue to negotiate in good faith with the unions on implementing that. On classroom sizes, I've been clear. We are maintaining the lowest classroom size in Canada for the earliest years of learning. And when it comes to high schools and the other impacts there, I'm prepared to work in good faith with the unions to find an innovative way to keep classroom sizes down. But you can't increase compensation wages by $1.5 billion and then expect all the other investments. You know, in a world of choices which political actors make, I choose investment in students. I'd rather see lower classroom size. I'd rather see more spec education investment than heightened wage and benefit for folks who we value. And I really mean this. My closest friends and family, members of our caucus, are educators. But with respect, we've paid them the second highest in Canada. After 10 years of experience, they're the highest paid in the nation. We're doing that.
Ontario's regional chief is accusing the Prime Minister of abandoning Canada's First Nations tonight. Chief Roseanne Archibald put out a statement critical of Trudeau for putting the onus on Indigenous leaders to end recent rail blockades. This afternoon, Trudeau said that while Canadians have been patient with protests, their patience is running out.
The situation as it currently stands is unacceptable and untenable. Everyone involved is worried. Canadians have been patient. Our government has been patient But the fact remains. The barricades must now come down. The injunctions must be obeyed, and the law must be upheld.
Trudeau says the government will not order police to enforce injunctions. He says he's hopeful that Indigenous leadership will decide to act in the coming hours and days. Meanwhile, a group of Wet'suwet'en chiefs were meeting with Tyendinaga Mohawks behind a rail blockade near Belleville today. They reiterated their position that they'll remove the blockades once RCMP leave Wet'suwet'en territory in British Columbia. To Brampton now, where city councillors and staff are trying to keep warm tonight for a good cause. They're sleeping in their cars overnight to raise not just money for the United Way, but also awareness of the number of people who have no choice but to sleep in their cars tonight. Angelina King joins us live from Garden Square in downtown Brampton. Angelina, this is symbolic of a much bigger issue in Peel.
Exactly, Mike. The United Way says about 40% of people experiencing homelessness live in their vehicles. And tonight, 25 people, Brampton City Councillors, staff, firefighters, police, and volunteers are doing just that. They're behind me in their vehicles. It's all about raising money for the United Way, but also about bringing attention to the issue of homelessness and poverty in Peel region. It's pretty cold out here tonight, if you can't tell. Feels like it's about -10. This wind certainly isn't helping. I'm told most of the people in their vehicles will not be turning them on tonight. Some people have brought a pillow and a blanket, but what they're experiencing is nothing compared to what homeless people deal with every day. The Peel region is growing extremely fast, and with it, poverty and homelessness also growing. The United Way says it's important to keep in mind that these issues happen in every community, not just in the core of big cities.
Our research shows that poverty is stubborn and sticky in the suburbs, and it's spreading into the 905. And it's important that individuals, employees, the city of Brampton that raises dollars for United Way also does events like this to demonstrate, while it may be invisible, it is growing in Peel as well.
The United Way says there are about 900 people experiencing homelessness on any given night in Peel region. And while there are resources and programs in place to help combat the issue, it is getting worse. Just last week, a person believed to be homeless was found dead near an encampment in Brampton. And Peel region is also dealing with a really long wait list when it comes to affordable housing. There are about 13,000 families on that list waiting on average for 7 years for social housing.
But it's almost a black hole. We essentially, one of the sensations of someone who looks towards you for help and support, and you simply send them to this imaginary line. So we at the Region of Peel and Council has been very adamant about taking action, but we have some frustration when you think about the level of services that are required and notwithstanding the provincial cuts.
So the goal is to raise about $15,000 tonight. They're about halfway there, but they still have about 7 hours to go. Everybody sleeping in their cars will be here overnight until 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Mike?
Okay, Angelina reporting live from Brampton for us tonight. Thank you, Angelina. Angelina was talking about the wind in Brampton, also windy downtown, with gusts strong enough to rip this scaffolding away from a building on John Street. Toronto Fire says it was leaning on a hydro line. It doesn't seem like any customers were affected, but you may have been delayed if you were commuting home along King Street. Nick Cernkovich is here with his first look at the forecast. And Nick, these must be the moments you live for, when you get to tell everybody how great the weekend's going to be.
Yeah, I know. It always seems like the bad weather comes on the weekend, but this time it's not. Actually, it's the reverse. Sunny skies, or at least a mix of sun and cloud for the weekend, but more importantly, warmer temperatures on the way. We did hit 0 degrees in the city. That's a look at some of the afternoon temperatures. Sunshine will turn to a mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow, but we will see some good sunny breaks in there. That lasts all the way through till Sunday as well. And the warm weather continues with a southwesterly push. Overnight tonight, temperatures still on the cool side, -6 degrees. That is above seasonal, though. Wind chills, though, to about -13. 5 degrees tomorrow, and it gets even warmer toward the end of the weekend. Full details in just a bit.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Goodbye.
Peel police officers are now hitting the streets with a different kind of partner. The force has unveiled a new program to help those experiencing mental health issues, pairing up officers with crisis response workers. As Nick Boisvert tells us, police say it's an approach that has already proven to be a success.
Their uniforms are different, but these two are teammates on the same mission.
It's constant learning, I know for myself, and it is really a partnership where together we can assess the situation.
Today, Constable Joe Sirianni is sharing his car with crisis worker Kevin Devoda. It's a spot usually reserved for police officers.
Yeah, it's great to be able to have this partnership where we can kind of learn from each other and support each other, kind of drawing on each other's strengths.
The partnership is part of the force's new mobile crisis response unit, which has already been hitting the streets but officially launched today. The new teams respond to calls that may require mental health expertise.
Now we can get the perspective from a crisis worker who's been professionally trained, educated to deal specifically with people in crisis.
The goal is to help people like Tim Fulton, who we met covering a story 2 years ago. He was homeless before making contact with a team of crisis workers.
It makes you want to believe that there is a God that has angels looking after us.
He says police might not have been so helpful.
Police don't know. They don't know what they're dealing with, you know what I mean?
Police stats suggest that may be true. According to Peel, when police alone respond to mental health calls, they made arrests 90% of the time. In the early stages of this program, the number plummeted to 28%. Fewer arrests could also save money, since the force recently spent almost $1.8 million on officers waiting in hospitals.
What has been happening historically is an officer has been apprehending under the Mental Health Act, and quite often they're restrained or taken to the hospital.
Police Chief Nishan Duryappa wants to reverse that trend.
Sometimes they just need to be connected to a service, and we aren't the best to discern that.
The program has received $1.5 million in provincial funding so far, but the force wants it to grow in the coming years. Nick Boisvert, CBC News, Mississauga.
At least 2 major cruise lines have now canceled all trips to Asia until at least the summer. The reason why? Fears over the coronavirus and access to ports in the region. It's now left thousands of people scrambling. I'm Farah Morali, and coming up, I'll bring you the story of how that's affecting people here in the GTA.
Travelers around the world, including many from the GTA, are continuing to feel the effects of the coronavirus outbreak. In recent days, at least 2 cruise lines have canceled all trips to Asia until at least this summer. That's left thousands scrambling. Farmer Rally caught up with 2 GTA residents who are affected.
This is one of our favorite pictures from Greece, Santorini.
Each picture on this wall, a memento of the travels by Anita and Bob Thiessen.
This is the itinerary. This is showing the map where we would be starting in Singapore.
A year and a half ago, the Mississauga couple booked a cruise from Singapore to Hong Kong. Aboard this Oceania cruise ship. 2 weeks ago, they were told their trip would be rerouted because of the coronavirus. Then, 2 days ago, they learned it was canceled altogether.
Now it's just completely gone. So yet again, we have to scramble to cancel flights and make a decision about what we do now.
We booked the cruise 17 months in advance, so that gave us 17 months to do the planning, and now it gives us 3 days to do the replacement.
And it's not just their cruise that's been canceled. In a statement to CBC Toronto, Oceania said, out of an abundance of caution and as a result of the uncertainty surrounding port entry and berthing availability in various destinations in Asia, Oceania Cruises has made the prudent decision to cancel all voyages in Asia through June 2020. Yesterday, Norwegian Cruise Lines announced all its trips to Asia are canceled until September.
It's unheard of. It's nothing like that has ever happened before, that they've canceled that many cruises all right through the summers.
Robert Townsend says in his 25 years in the business, he's never seen this.
There's a downslide in people asking for cruises just because of what's happened and the big news item in Japan with the quarantine of the Princess Cruise. So people are looking at that and not want that to happen to them, so not booking as many cruises as we would have.
Anita and Bob have been compensated for almost all their expenses. They've managed to book a different trip to Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam instead, leaving on the same day.
There's just a lot of moving parts sometimes. So
Again, we're leaving on Sundays.
and
we're leaving in 2 days.
And then we're leaving in 2 days, yes.
Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
It's the most technological car of its time ever. So it had lots of technology features, and some of its features which were first introduced in this car are still in Porsches and other cars.
You have to see this story. Coming up, we'll take you on a tour of the auto show with our young and very excited and very talkative guide. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
Okay, so this is the $18 million car you're buying.
The weather update is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Nick Cernkovich is back with his extended forecast. We've got a great weekend on tap. Let's just focus on that, okay?
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil it for you on the first weather hit there, but we do have some weather to talk about for next week, some winter weather to talk about. So we'll get to that in just a bit. Let's talk about the sunshine once again and the warm-up. So weekend warm-up, sunny skies. Again, though, we do have a winter storm to talk about for next week. Here's a look at the next couple of days. Mix of sun and cloud heading into tomorrow, as I said off the top there. That'll continue all the way through till Sunday as well. Now, the one thing to add is that the winds will be a little bit gusty. I'll show you those in just a sec. But otherwise, look for some sunny skies this weekend. Starts to cloud over Sunday evening as the system approaches the GTA. Winds will be a bit of a factor for us. Tonight, gusting to about 60 kilometers per hour. Generally speaking, carrying us through tomorrow morning and into the afternoon. We're looking at wind gusts in the neighborhood of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. So it'll be a pretty breezy weekend right through until Sunday as well. Overnight tonight, still a little bit on the cool side here, both for southwestern Ontario and also for the Golden Horseshoe. That being said, it is above the seasonal mark. -4 degrees down in Windsor, -5 elsewhere. Wind chills to about -11. Wind gusts again, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow afternoon, though, highs to about 5-6 degrees. Southwestern Ontario seeing mainly sunny skies for the most part tomorrow. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover across the GTA and surrounding areas, and that just by proximity here as the system sort of pushes down. -6 degrees tonight, wind chills to about -14. And then tomorrow afternoon, highs to +4, +5 degrees. Still a pretty breezy day in store. And then we talk about next week. Now, I'm going to show you sort of a sneak peek of what we can expect here. This is very early days, so don't take these numbers verbatim, but that's a look at some of the snowfall totals that we could be seeing through Wednesday and Thursday, but that'll likely come with mixed precipitation as well. So sunny days ahead for the next few, warm days as well. Temperatures start to drop a little bit. Potential for pretty good winter storm coming Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday and Thursday. But you know what, Mike? Let's enjoy the weekend, and we'll cover that on Monday.
Exactly. All more reason to get out and enjoy this weekend. Thanks, Nick.
You bet.
The Raptors home for their first game since the All-Star break. Phoenix here for Drake night. First quarter, Raps come up with a steal. Kyle Lowry pushes it up court, dishes it to Serge Ibaka for a nice jam. Let's go to the second quarter. Lowry with a great no-look bounce pass. OG Anunoby does the rest. Toronto up by 18 at this point. Fourth quarter, the Suns cut the lead to as little as 6. Raptors go to the All-Stars. First, Fred VanVleet misses the layup. Pascal Siakam on the glass to clean it up with a great putback jam. Next possession, off a steal. Lowry to Anunoby. He finds Siakam with another big dunk right here. Raptors win 118-101. Beat the Suns for the 9th straight game. We'll be right back. With today's school strike, it was a scramble for many parents to find something for their kids to do. Lucky for one 8-year-old boy, the auto show is still going on. Ytharth Dubé not only loves cars, he knows everything about them, which made him the perfect person to guide our Greg Ross around the show floor.
How you doing, Ytharth? I'm Greg. Nice to meet you. So you're going to give me a little tour of the auto show.
Yeah.
How do you know so much about cars?
I learned about them on YouTube.
YouTube?
And
You can learn about cars on YouTube?
yeah.
Huh. Cars are his life, which is why 8-year-old Ytharth Dubé can quickly go into information overload at the auto show.
What's that one over there?
That's another Kia Stinger.
We were barely through the doors when he started giving me my first lesson.
Actually deflector now. So the first thing you see are these high-end speakers, which I saw first when I got in.
I quickly realized we were going to have to reel Ytharth in if we were going to get through this.
So why don't we just pick your favorite car and go check that one out? Is that okay? So what is your favorite car?
The Le Mans McLaren.
The Le Mans McLaren. That's in the exotic car exhibit? All right, let's go check that one out. Are there going to be a lot of cars on the way to the exotic exhibit?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them.
Yeah, right.
That's a cool looking car.
Yeah, it's an Audi R8 GT3. Here's its rear diffuser. This is not put here for show. Here's the fuel cap. It's specially designed with no cover.
I know you love talking about these cars, but we got to get to the McLaren car that you want to show me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. You
I'm
ready?
just going to talk on the way.
You're going to talk on the way, okay?
Okay.
And he did talk.
It's actually a functional feature. It helps you tell how much you are turning.
And talk.
The Ford GT40 was actually not a good sports car. It had terrible handling and reliability.
And talk.
It's the most technological car of its time ever.
All right, now this is all great information, but we got to get to the McLaren car that you want to show us.
Yes.
So let's keep going. Let's keep moving, all right?
There's that rare Ferrari
All right,
to the
here we go.
predecessor.
His father says he's been like this since before he could talk.
So Ytharth has been fascinated by cars since he was 1 year old.
But it wasn't until he was about 3 years old that his father realized his amazing ability to retain all of this information. It started with toy cars, but then when that wouldn't satisfy his hunger for information, Ytharth turned to the internet.
And I'm surprised, like things which I never told him, and he knows a lot about the cars.
More than you know about the cars?
Definitely.
Finally, we made our destination.
This is the McLaren you wanted to show me.
Yes.
Do you even need me for this segment?
No.
These tires are meant for racing on a only track, because if they go on a road, they'll be wrecked. This car has lots of aerodynamic details. They needed something to cool down the engine. So there are a few big vents here. A roll cage is actually not centered. You can easily see that, but it's there for safety.
And after learning more about this McLaren car than I had ever dreamed possible, I thought it was time to go. But Ytharth had other ideas.
There's more?
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
As my floor director Philip said, we got to get that kid on Ellen. That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday night at 11. Good night.